Hi there, welcome back to 2x English. Today we are going to conduct a concept clear session on Ode to the West Wind by P.B. Shelley. Today, the first chapter or the first part of the poem is to be discussed, and we will try our best to give or to clear the concept. And today's presentation, as per our assumption, will be very much helpful for your preparation for different competitive exams like SLST, KVS, NBS recruitment, and most other recruitments where English literature is a part and parcel. Let's proceed to the general discussion. Here, P.B. Shelley has given us a lesson. What lesson he taught us? In his poem, that is Ode to the West Bank, Ode to the West Wind, P.B. Shelley teaches us the natural law of destruction. Destruction of what? Destruction of old and outdated, and the advent of new, youthful vigor and jollity. The west wind is undoubtedly a force of nature, a natural entity, which is at once a destroyer that destroys everything that is old, outdated, and not useful to the generation. Simultaneously, the west wind is also a preserver. Preserver of what? Preserver of new. Preserver of updated, which will keep our generation, keep our would be generation updated and lead towards forward mobility. Like the west wind, Shelley also wants to wave away his dead thoughts. The dead thoughts the poet was nurturing needs to be replaced with new and rejuvenating thoughts. So let's proceed to the second doubt clear section. Doubt clear option. Effect of west wind. As a natural entity, west wind has its effect on land. The west wind blows away all the dead leaves. The dead leaves, like dead thoughts or outdated or old entities. The dead leaves are blown away by the west wind. Where? To their dark wintry bed, just like an enchanter who drives away ghost. We know that for superstition or some belief, people in rural areas uses an enchanter in order to blow away or eradicate some imaginary or such type of entities known as ghosts, though its presence is not yet proved. It inverts the seeds with the dead leaves to their wintry bed. The west wind also carries with it the seeds to the wintry bed, but the seeds will peep out their heads as new saplings. The wintry beds, in course of time, from the wintry bed, the seeds will sprout little twigs and give birth to new life. Here, the shedding of or the separation of old dry leaves is nothing but symbolizing old thoughts, old and outdated entities, and the new twigs or new sapling that is sprouting out of the seeds from wintry bed with the advent of spring is nothing but our updated, our new thoughts, rejuvenation, vigor, and jollity. Thus, the west wind destroys dead leaves or blows away dead leaves and at the same time preserve new life, as it is the main performer for main performer behind birth of a new life from the seeds. So now proceed to the next effect of west wind on water. We have already learned that west wind has some effect on land, and in water also west wind have some effect. So let's study what is it. The west wind has a great effect on water also, as per the poem, and this is described very minutely in the poem. It arouses the blue Mediterranean Sea from its his happy summer sleep. Here, Mediterranean Sea has been personified as if the sea or Mediterranean Sea was sleeping, and the west wind is rousing it from its summer sleep. It seems that old Roman palaces submerged in the water begin to quiver with the motion of the seawater caused by the effect of west wind. Even the vegetation under the ocean water. We know that below or under the ocean water there are flora world, not only flora and fauna world that is also quite affected by the west wind. And here the poet mentions about the waves of Atlantic that cleave themselves to let the wind pass. And there is a tremor that is created by the west wind, and this west wind is creating a hall all over the ocean world. So there are plenty of effect on water also. Now, what message did Shelley give us? We have already learned that what lesson Shelley taught. This is not quite different from this. Still, we want to give the same thing in different way. The lesson Shelley has given through the poem The Ode to the West Winds is very interesting. According to him, the old, weak, fragile, and worn out, and even outdated world should give room for, give space for the new, fresh, youthful, vigor. By love and liberty, there is no forceful entry of the new, the young, the fresh. Rather, the aged, the old, the outdated should understand that we need youths. We need to infuse youthful blood for regeneration, for recreation. Hence, they should give room for the new. The poet thinks that the destruction of the old and weak is extremely needed for the regeneration of the and recreation of the world. That is the message strongly given by Shelley in his poem. Shelley calls west wind the breath of autumn's being. The breath of autumn's bring. We know that a man, as a man, breathes out till he leaves. When we stop breathing, we die. When people stop breathing, they die. Here, the west wind is the breath of the spirit of autumn. Breath of the spirit of autumn. Notice it. Shelley says that the wind is the life energy breathed out by autumn. The autumn is said to be alive. This is here also autumn is personified, and it is said to be alive till the west wind blows. That is, west wind is working as the carbon dioxide and oxygen, working as the oxygen for autumn till the west wind blows. When the blowing of west wind stops, that is the oxygen supply stops. When oxygen supply stops, a human being dies. Similarly, when blowing of what west wind stops, the autumn dies. When the stormy wind stops, the stormy west wind stops blowing, the autumn dies and winter comes. The autumn is replaced by winter. Breath of autumn's being. Now come to line number 4 and 5. Yellow and black and pale and hectic red. Pestilence stricken multitudes. Here the main question that arise in our mind, that is, what is pestilence stricken multitudes and why are they called so? Here P.B. Shelley describes the activities of the west wind on land, the effect of west wind on land. The wind drives away dry leaves from the trees. The leaves are already yellow, black, and red in color. That is, they have lost their living characteristic features. They are not living at all. They died. These dead leaves are referred to as pestilence stricken multitudes. Hence, pestilence stricken multitudes are nothing but the dead leaves blown away by west wind. Towards the end of the autumn or in late autumn, the tree leaves, especially of deciduous trees, the tree leaves become pale, and they got devoid of greenery. Their natural green color is lost because they are not alive. The poet imagines that the leaves are thus on the verge of death or already died because of some deadly epidemic or disease that is killing the leaves. Though it is undeniably unnatural, a natural phenomena, undeniably natural phenomena or natural phenomenon, the tea leaves are the tea leaves on the verge of dead in course of time or season changes. So now come to line number 6, 7. Who chariotist to their dark wintry bed, the wind sits, the west wind sweeps away. Here the question that comes to in different exams, or here the part that is to be cleared, I am mentioning here, who chariotist the winged seed and to where. The winged seeds you should understand, and where are they chariotist, and who are doing the task. The west wind is doing the task, as it is sweeps away the winged seeds with the dead leaves. When the west wind blows away the dead leaves, it also blows away the seeds or the winged seeds. Here, seed wings are nothing but some twigs like formations. At late autumn, the west wind blows away the dead leaves from the trees, and also seeds, to where? Wintry beds, where they spend, where they or the seeds spend the whole winter season. The wind gathers the seeds in their bed of dead leaves, and they wait, or they stay there throughout the winter, and waits for the advent of spring wind, which helps them to explore to a new life. Hence, here the west wind chariotests the wind seeds or the tree seeds to the wintry bed, and in course of time, the seeds become or the seeds give birth to new life. So now come to the next line, or the line or line number 8, like a corpse within its grave. Corpse means dead body within the grave where dead body is buried. So this part is quite interesting and it is to be analyzed. The west wind sweeps away the seeds with the dead leaves where to their wintry bed in the cold ground where they lie buried, just like a dead human being is buried. Here the seeds are also buried, and they remain there throughout the winter season, just like a dead body stays underground or stays buried throughout throughout its body get compost. Each of the seeds is imagined to be a corpse. Here the seeds are imagined or symbolized as corpse or dead bodies. A dead body, and as if they are lying in the grave, though they are not really dead. The seeds are not really dead because they are just waiting for a new season, a season of rejuvenation, and the touch of the new season is vital for them, is very important for them to grow to new life. So here the corpse is referred, or the crops stand for the leaves, sorry, the seeds blown away by the west wind. Now come to line number 910. Then Azure, sister of the spring, shall blow her clarion over the dreaming earth. What is Azure? And who is the sister of the west wind? These are the most vital things that generally comes in exams. The spring wind is considered as or conceived as the sister of west wind and spring wind. And west wind is the feature of what? West wind is the feature of autumn, and west wind and spring wind both are like sisters. Azure, azure is nothing but simply the sky. When the sky is blue, we know that in spring the sky remains cloudless and it is purely blue, and this blue sky is called azure. The gentle warm west wind of the spring, the gentle warm west wind of the spring is called Jaffer, and this Jaffer blows in springtime without any without any trace of cloud in the sky. That is, the sky remains cloudless, and the warm spring wind will blow her clarion and wake up the seeds into new life. Now come to line number 13 and 14. This is the last two lines of part 1. Wild spirit, which art moving everywhere, destroyer and preserver, here of here. We have already told that the west wind is performing its duty or its task both as a destroyer and as a preserver. Hence, here, what comes in our mind? The role of west wind as destroyer and preserver has already been discussed at the very beginning of the session. So, still, I just like to give very brief discussion in new way. Shelley calls that the west wind is nothing but the wild spirit. He calls west wind wild spirit. Hence, wild spirit equal to the west wind. Simultaneously, he calls west wind a destroyer and a preserver. That is, it has two two different characteristic features. When the west wind drives away the dead leaves from the forest or from the trees and gathers them in their wintry bed, it is working just like a destroyer. But while doing so, the west wind carries with it some seeds also, to the wintry bed, and this prepares the ground for the seeds seeds so that they can get new life in course of time with the advent of spring. Hence, indirectly, the west wind is helping the seeds to grow to new life. So undeniable is the fact that west wind is a preserver also. This west wind preserves new life, and it is perfectly a preserver. So this was today's presentation, and 10 different points have been uphold here, and I tried my level best to clear the concept, and this will give you a brief, or I think good insight into the text about the message of poet, about the role of west wind on land and water. Similarly, this will help you for your preparation for different competitive exams undeniably. And still, if you have some doubts on any of the topics discussed today, unhesitatingly mention it in the comment box. I will try my level best in the next session to clear your doubt. So thank you for watching this session, and if you like the session, don't forget to give a thumb, and if you are new to my channel, subscribe it if you like it. So thank you again. Stay connected, stay tuned.